All right, so good afternoon. Hello. Hi. Hello. So I'd like to welcome everybody to our TBA Talks Live presents the art of interviewing advice from these entertainment industry hiring managers. My name is David Edmonds. I'm on the TBA Eastern Board of Directors. I also create the director for iTech Entertainment, and I'm going to be moderating the panel today. So today's panel is going to focus on bringing interviewing advice direct from interviewers from a wide range of companies, broad disciplines, and what the companies do. Each one of these kind of brings a different approach, a different idea on what's the right way to interview them. So we're hoping that the collective feedback helps in your next interview. We're going to keep it positive today, hopefully funny. Don't go off into too many tangents. That's for me too. I'll end up somewhere else too. But our goal is to offer constructive advice that can help both new hires and experienced employees. And we're hoping that you get something to take away from the panel today. Before we start, it's important to know with things in the news right now that this is just advice. There's no guarantee. There's no magic bullet for how to perfectly nail an interview. But the experts up here should offer good pieces of advice for you to take away. And before I introduce the panel today, I want to thank UCF for hosting us. Yes. And I'm going to butcher the names, I apologize, but Peter Weishar and Paul Larchinoy for helping us secure the space and making sure this event could happen, because without their input, we wouldn't be able to be here. And for those of you that don't know, Peter has just started the Team Experience MFA here at UCF. So, new opportunities coming along. So, now I want to get into introducing our panelists. They're a great group, that I said, have come to us from across the industry. I've had a chance to work with many of them myself, and I know that they'll have some good stories. I'll let them introduce themselves. Jerry.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Pearson. I work with Dynamic Attractions here in Orlando and also in Vancouver. I started working in this industry at the opening of Universal in 1988. So in my mind, I think it was just yesterday, but actually it's been 30 plus years ago. So I have a background in engineering degree. I worked at iTech for 29 years before joining Dynamic. Background in engineering, worked on a creative group, and when I left there, I was the head of project management and overseeing both the creative and technical projects within the business. Now my responsibility is to manage all the operations for Dynamic in the United States.
I'm Monica Roll. I started in entertainment, but not on the live show side as a performer. And left that industry for a while, worked in education and healthcare, but really saw the need for what could themed entertainment that could transform, or themed environments that could transform other areas. So I came back to entertainment. I now am the senior creative manager at BRPH. So we are traditionally an architecture engineering firm that now has many different elements, including interior design and creative design. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're all here. So hopefully we will do something that will really help them.
Jeff Sugar. Dave paid me $50 to be here.
I got way more than that.
Sorry,
Not supposed to tell everybody.
Well, I thought we were being honest right up front.
I got you.
I am a classically trained landscape architect. I've been working in the themed entertainment field now for the better part of 11 years, I guess. I had the pleasure of working with Dave, Jerry, and Molly at iTech for 10 of those. I'm now at EDSA, so we're an international destination themed entertainment hospitality design firm for landscape architecture. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, basically you have buildings with the shows are inside. Everything else out in the world is what we touch and what we create. Thank you.
My name is Mark Hurst, Card says flounder, that's what I generally go by. I'm a technical director with Walt Disney Imagineering. I've been with Walt Disney Company for almost 29 years. The last 20 of it as a principal technical director with creative entertainment, doing stage shows, parades, special events, etc. And the last 4 with Walt Disney Imagineering, working on emerging attractions.
Great. So we're going to jump right into our topic, the art of interviewing. How it's going to work, I'm going to throw out some topics and some questions. I'll either direct them towards somebody or direct it towards anyone, but hopefully everybody on the panel has their opportunity to add their 2 cents, because everybody's going to bring a different set of advice. So we're talking about interviewing, but we're actually going to start well ahead of the interview, before you have to worry about what to wear or what to say. We're going to talk about resumes. Creating a good resume, it's a balancing act. You want good information, a little bit of flair, maybe not. You want to get noticed, but not in the wrong way. So, Jerry, like for you, straightforward.
Because I'm sitting here?
Yes.
First one.
What do you look for in a resume?
Typically, it depends, right? If you're engineering background, then you're gonna look at resumes a bit different than if you're creative background, you're looking for portfolios to go along with resumes, or websites. A lot of students will have an associated website there, but typically simplicity. You're not gonna look for a lot on the experience side unless you work on projects or had internships through your junior, senior years before you graduate. And where you did those, and then how do those things lead into what you're looking for a particular candidate? So if you spend, I spend a minute, 90 seconds on a resume, that's probably a pretty long time. So get right to the point. I look for misspellings, formatting. Too much formatting is too much formatting. I look for bigger fonts because I wear glasses, right? So no 0.8 font or anything like that. And just, make it really simple. And I think most importantly, make sure that the contact information there is your information, that it's recent, that it's updated, that you don't have, we're talking earlier about having email addresses that are, hey, killerjp.com, right? Or what, be really simplistic and straightforward on your resume, because the goal is that it gets you to the next step, right? Get somebody to call you up.
Who else wants to jump in and add?
I'll jump in. So I will say that, just to piggyback on that, the other thing is, because so much of interviewing now is online when you submit your resume, I have multiple resumes. They're all true, but they do fit certain criteria for a job that I'm looking for. And it is very important that you look at specific keywords in a job description or a summary, that if you possess those skills and you know that you're capable of doing that, you should tailor some of those things in your own resume to meet that. Because an automated system will kick you out if you don't have anything that matches up. So you could be perfectly suited for the job, a great candidate, someone that a company that would love to hire, but you're not going to get past that stage. So make sure that you're really looking at the job description itself and understanding what it is. I think it's really important too to look at the jobs that you want to apply for with your resume that meet your needs, not just go find a job. So make sure that you're really looking at the whole picture. If your resume is too busy, I'm not going to read it. Design or not design. If you have a logo, a background, and I say, oh my gosh, wow, did you design it? No, that's my friend's drawing, it's really cool. Yeah, why did you put it on your resume? I want to see your work, your stuff. If you have, I interviewed someone that used their first and their last name to make an icon, and the icon became a part of their resume, and it was really a storytelling place for her to begin a conversation with us. I think your experience is way more important than your education. At times, I need to know that you have an education, but I need to know what you're doing. Make sure it's simple, clean, easy to read. Don't make me search for things. If this is too difficult, I'm probably going to put it to the side once I get it. So just make it your best shot. Always read it. Have someone else read it. Give it to someone else that you know and trust to read it, because you're going to proofread it and you're going to make mistakes. You're going to be reading it and what you think it should say instead of what it might or should say. So be very, very careful that you give it to somebody else that hasn't seen it before, and give it a clean eye and make sure it is up to date to piggyback on what it's going to say. You get countless resumes that line work them. Super. How long is it? 6 months. You should update it. So please do that.
Along with that, when you have somebody else look at your resume, it's often helpful to have someone look at it who does not understand what it is you do. To make sure that what you're explaining for your experience is is translated properly. I love giving my resume to my parents when I was younger because they did not understand what I was doing. But if they understood what my resume said, then I was communicating to a recruiter properly. Also, when I'm looking at resumes, I'm looking for a linear progression. You started at a certain area, you kept moving forward along a specific, maybe wide career path, but a career path, not you were trying different things and bouncing all over the place. And I love to see that you were hired by a company to do something, and then they kept you, or they hired you again, because that shows that they have developed a level of faith and confidence in you. Not, I went from this company to this company to this company to this company. That may be perfectly legitimate, that may be the route that we're working in a project hire world, but I want to see that you have consistently applied yourself along a career path.
What about business cards before we move on?
I will start there. So I will give you a perfect example of a creative business card that was very frustrating. I received a business card from a graphic designer. The business card itself was spectacularly beautiful. I loved it. However, the phone number of this person was down the side with a little tiny phone icon. I'm holding it. I'm like, I'm sure there's probably a phone number on this card. Right? Okay, there's no phone number? Like, I can't. And I sit down, I'm like, phone? And it was written as just 10 digits. It looked like a ticket stub. So beautifully created, beautifully created. It was really a great card. I would have wanted her to show that to me in her portfolio or something as a creative style. But from a business card aspect, I need to be able to see it, read it, find your information so I can get a hold of you. So it's great to have something, but when it's too much is too much.
Clarity is important. Also, standard size is important. If you come up with a business card that is larger than normal or smaller than normal, it will probably end up in the trash can. Take the risk that it's going to get caught in the jumble of the 400 cards we received, rather than because of its odd shape, it doesn't fit in the book that I have, or it's slipped out of my pocket. It is a better risk that it's one of 400 than it's one of the 3 I just didn't hold on to.
As cool as it sounds, black on black does not make a good business card.
It does make a great album.
It does. I've seen probably every year someone comes up with black on black, and it just does not look good. If you look at everybody's card here, they're all white. The one thing to kind of change it is to put a color on the back. That way, if somebody was putting a pocket and fall down, that the color kind of pops. Or if it's against another one, obviously, I was saying that. So that's very inexpensive to do.
And what about you pick next?
Just,
I met this person here. Give yourself a little reminder. So, good. Resumes are important. You sent it. You got an interview. Now it's time to dress the part. Yes, this means remembering pants. It means showering. It means combing your hair. No, I'm not going to attest to that. I'm sorry. I told you I was stealing that story. Founder, I want to start with you.
Why?
Listen, what advice can you give for dressing the part, especially when it can be hard to gauge what that level of attire should be for a unique studio like a creative studio?
My basic advice on any interview or first professional encounter with an individual or an organization, you need to do your research. You need to understand who you are meeting. When you're walking into an interview, my recommendation, you want to be dressed at least as well as the best dressed person in that interview. Or for Walt Disney Imagineering. On a daily basis, jeans and a t-shirt is fine. I live on a construction site. I'm also today representing my organization. I'm meeting people that I want to make sure I leave the right impression with. So I wore clothing to respect you. I'm not here to respect myself, I'm here to respect you. When I walk into an interview, I want to do the same thing. I also want to make sure that what I wear, whether that is clothing, jewelry, glasses, perfume, cologne, hair color, whatever it is, I don't want any of those elements speaking louder about me than my words in the interview or my resume. I want to control the impression that I'm leaving.
You want to jump in?
I will jump in just because he said he can. Because I'm sure you're all wondering.
Do we have hands up?
I'm not standing up.
So I have been in interviews where I was concerned, I'm gonna be an only female on this panel and I'm gonna address this. I was very concerned about the attire of some females that showed up. It looked like they came from a club and not too drunk. I've interviewed people that I think overslept and perhaps did not shower, did not brush their teeth. It is so distracting. If you cannot come to an interview and be prepared in that professional manner when you come on site, I would prefer you not come. And we did interview someone that the whole time I'm like, I wish she was wearing this. Because the dress was so short. So, I don't know if that's an age thing but what I would say is exactly what Mark has said. You need to respect where you're going. Once you get hired and you see what the dress code is, or you get the handbook and you know that you can wear jeans, super great. But I don't know if that means you should always show up that way. I don't think you should, the TV commercial where they're on a date and the guy had a like messed up t-shirt and the girl says, you look comfortably comfortable, because it's a mess. Don't come that way to an interview. Be prepared, know the company that you're interviewing with. Very, very important. Please go to the company's website. Please make sure you've done your research. Because if we have vetted your resume, your website, we've taken the time to get to know who you are, to bring you into the company, then in turn, I would expect that you would do the same.
So dress for the role you want, but is there such a thing as overdressing?
Don't wear tux.
Don't wear your prom dress.
It comes back to understand what you are applying for. Respect the company that you are going in to meet with and what their corporate expectations are most likely going to be.
And I think Jerry probably, or an A&E firm might be a little bit more formal in their dress versus just a creative design studio. However, I don't have a problem if someone shows up in jeans, but I don't want them to have 50 holes in them. I don't want them down on hips. I prefer people don't wear a t-shirt. I don't know that, I think, if Mark, great example, this is a great example of what you could come to an interview would be perfectly fine. But you just constantly, you need to be aware of that. Yeah, show pride in who you are, taking care of yourself, and leaving that impression exactly what Mark said.
As awkward as this may be, imagine you're about to meet your significant other's grandparents. You're not going to wear a tux. You're not going to dress formal, but you're going to dress nice. And if you're going out to dinner, chances of a pair of khakis, button-down shirt, female equivalent, that's not bad. Jacket's not necessary in today's society, depending on where you're interviewing. But understand who you are about to meet with.
Great. So they've shown up, they've dressed well, all that's a good start. But let's talk about punctuality. Early, late, neither. Start with you. You had the great question.
Early is on time is late. Late means you don't get hired.
I will say I've had one situation where someone did call me 30 minutes ahead of time and said, I'm coming from Tampa. Obviously, clearly I need to let me because I'm coming from Tampa. There is an accident, a 575 exit. I'm not going to be there. Now, respectful enough to call me 30 minutes ahead, not at 5 minutes, oh, I'm going to be late. You knew you were going to be late before 5 minutes ago. So it happens, right? However, you need to be prepared. You need to check. I didn't know how far it was. Well, you might have checked. You might have looked. So just be prepared, but certainly know that those things do happen. You don't have control over it. But I wholeheartedly agree with what Mike said. You should be early, because you know what? That gives you time. Get introduced, if a receptionist meets you, or someone, a front desk person, or a staff member comes out to meet you, and you're early, I'm here for my interview in 10 minutes, then you can just get out, get in your own space, get in your own head, calm yourself down because you're nervous the whole time getting in there in your car. That gives you time. So it's both sides of the coin. It's fair to someone who's taking the time to interview you, and it's giving that space for yourself to relax and to calm down and prepare if you're not rushing it the last minute. Because that just puts you on it. You don't want that.
Be early, not too early. Right? Sit in your car around the corner, relax, go to the bathroom, get something
Not in
to
your car.
Unless you have an RV. But like Molly said, this gives you time to kind of regroup, right? And the interview starts long before you walk into the room. You don't know who the receptionist is. Mark and I were talking earlier about receptionists can sometimes be roles, they can be from HR. You can meet the person interviewing you smoking outside before you actually go in. But the interview starts long before you actually get in the room. So remember, you're being judged against everyone else in this room. So you need to talk about your skills, your your work ethic, your desires, your dreams, all of that, and that gets measured against everybody else. Anything that you do in your dress and clothing, high karate, whatever it is you're wearing, it's like whatever you do that's distracting away from yourself as a resource, then a potential resource for this company is actually going to be distracting. So that's not the goal. The goal is that these companies have a specific need. They have a specific need for a certain role, certain personal capabilities. If you're already in the room, they're not looking for somebody with experience. They're looking for somebody with potential. And if you show up late, if you show up a little quirky, if you show up too enthusiastic, all those kind of go into the measurement equation of who you are and what you represent. So just it's like flying home from overseas. You do not miss that flight. Right? You will be there on time. You will be there on time, even if you have to sit out at the gate an hour before. So it's the same thing here because you cannot rely on traffic to be a certain way or weather, or if you've never been there before, you get lost on the way. It's pretty common.
I want to add, I don't know if it's in your notes, so if it is, I'll stop, but I do want to address, okay, so another thing that's important prior to you applying for a job, so get your resume, have your website, I go to it, and I can't find anything on the page. Like, it's so busy and so much on that opening page, and if you're an illustrator, if you're gonna show me line drawings, if you're gonna show me key art, you're gonna whatever, and I have to search for it because you've got so much going on, it goes back to the same kind of premise on the business card, I'm not doing it. And if you tell me that you have done logos and you show me one, you've done one. So be true. If you are an illustrator and then you say, but I'm really a concept artist, or I'm really a master planner, or I'm really you can get too broad based. It's important to have someone that has some Renaissance skills that has dabbled and, to have pieces that we can mold and shape into other areas. But if you put something on there that tells me you're an illustrator and then you show me 50 print ads, did you do the artwork in the print ad or you just show me the layout? So it's the same way as your resume and your business card. You also want that to match up. So recently, there was the Slice event, right? And I saw someone that was going to be on our panel interview, and I looked at their resume, and it was wrong, and it was someone that I knew, and their current job was not on their resume, but on LinkedIn, their current job was on their resume, and they were going to interview at a Slice event, and I picked up the phone and said, "What are you doing?"
Listen,
Mixed
I
message.
told you.
But those things are all consistencies that people look for. And, as popular as you all know that social media, guess what, if I get your resume, I'm gonna go check you out. I'm gonna go see what's out there. I'm gonna see what you have out there on LinkedIn. I'm gonna check out your portfolio site. I might go to your Facebook page and see what you got. You do post drawings on there or whatever your art is. But make it consistent, because that was misleading. And I called this person, I said, you should change all this before you show up to a full-time job and you're going to a freelancer event and your resume is on and your LinkedIn page, right? So what do you do? Because that's a red flag.
To Molly's point, pick a hat and wear it. So if you're a graphic designer, you're a graphic designer, you're a writer, you're a writer. The last couple of years, there's a new term that is design generalist. That means you're not good at anything, so you can try to screw up everything. Pick a hat, wear it, and if you can, if you're a graphic designer and you can write, then that's a bonus for your employer, but you're not good at both. Just pick one and go with it. That's gonna get you hired more than saying that you do 10 different jobs, kind of okay. It's like whatever the new commercial is, you don't wanna have a doctor that's just okay. You don't. You wanna have a graphic designer that's a graphic designer, or a writer, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, don't put the word generalist on your call.
One more thing with Molly bringing up websites. Understand what you can put out there as work you've done.
Yes.
I currently live in an organization where I know who I work for, and that's what I can tell you. I'm not going to tell you what designs I am specifically responsible for. I can walk through and say, I was part of the team that did this. I can tell you that in a few years when we get to see it. We have NDAs, we have other agreements that say what I've developed belongs to the company. And if we hire you as a freelancer or as an employee, the design still belongs to the company. And it does not belong on your website as your work, unless the agreement you had when you did that work allows you to do that. So make sure you understand it before you put it out there for the world to see.
And that also speaks to your integrity and your character, which are equally as important as everything else that we're gonna talk about. Who you are as a person and how you behave in all of those things are equally important.
So you get measured not just, we're talking about an interview and getting a job, right? So a lot of things, as you start progressing through your career, you jump around to different employers. The first thing I'll ask is, who can I talk to at the company you just worked at? All right, how you leave a company is just as important as how you get to start the next one. And so if somebody tells me, I can start tomorrow, and I say, well, don't you already work for Molly over there? Yeah, but I'm ready to go. That's the wrong answer. The wrong answer is I need 2 weeks or 3 weeks to disengage from this company before I can actually start with you. Me, I'll have the patience and I'll actually wait for that person to go available. So just like with any other relationship, how they like the one before is how they'll leave you. So be cognizant of your past is part of your present and will be part of your future. So lead the right way. Don't burn bridges as you start. As a founder and Jeff and I mentioned, we've all worked with each other. I think a couple of us had the same business cards for a while, but typically that isn't the case. Typically you work with the same small group and family that's in this industry your entire career. Whether you like them or not, they stay around. Just a little on the business card changes. So you can be working for somebody and in one role, 2 or 3 years later they can be working for you, right? Because the roles change. So just be cognizant of these things will catch up with you. If you burn bridges, you eventually become an aisle.
And this is a very small industry.
We have a whole attraction based on this idea in Fantasyland. It's a small world. I will guarantee you, you've all heard the 6 degrees of separation. Within this industry, it's 1. I will find someone who knows you. And it will be worth my effort because either they're going to say, oh my gosh, if you get the opportunity to put this person on your team, jump at it. Or they will say the opposite.
Be careful who you tell because they may try and take you away. That can happen as well.
This is fantastic. They knew all the questions ahead of time, so they're going down the questions.
I didn't
There were
know.
questions?
Yeah. I do want to add one thing. When Molly's point about the website is know where your website is being hosted. And if you know that you're hosting it on something that hosts a lot of adult content at times, let's say, and it's going to be blocked for many companies, if I get your online portfolio and the website is blocked because it's one of the websites that we're not allowed to go to from work, I'm not reviewing your portfolio and you're not going to move forward in anything because I can't see any work. So you know that well. But we've transitioned into websites and portfolios, so that's really good. They're getting ahead of me, so I like this. Piece of advice: when you show up to an interview, don't have one of the people you're interviewing with hold your presentation materials for you. Again, also things that we have seen. So we started talking about NDAs and what you can show, but let's talk a little bit about what we should show and how important it is to know your audience and not get into, while he's smiling, not get into weird content. So,
hello, people in TV land. Dave and I interviewed someone that showed me their portfolio, and I didn't know what this is, so clearly that tells you something about me. That was full of furries. If you don't know what those are, you can ask someone after me. All I know is that Dave was.
I had to explain it to her.
So costume designer.
Yes. Yeah. And
You need a moment?
yeah. I'm like, is that all you have to show me? Because if you could do something else, that would be great. But, and they were great drawings. It's just not what I want to see, right? It's not what I want to see. So if you are proud of what you do, super great. You should be. However, you really need to make sure that you are showing professional materials, right? If you were getting a job with another company that wanted to see your drawing of furries, that's different. I did not want to see that.
Go ahead. So to that point, I interviewed a person that was media production. And this goes to how you're going to present the material. So make sure the technology that you're presenting works on your laptop or Surface or whatever you have. So this person was showing the film that they had created. But the film kept getting stopped. It kept pausing at the same part. And she didn't realize, the person didn't realize where it was pausing. Well, there was like a half a second of nudity in the intro. And that was the part that kept stopping on her. And she kept going, oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. It's just talking. And she's like, well, okay. And then, I think afterward, one of this person's friends worked with us. And I was explaining what happened at the interview. And she's like, oh my God, I know that person. That's my best friend. So she sent her a text. She's like, I wondered why he was so nervous. Hey. Oh, look at you.
You are pretty awesome there.
There's been a consistent thing so far, as we've talked about resumes, as we've talked about portfolios and how you present yourself. Wear one hat. Apply for that job. To Molly's point, different resumes. You should have different resumes. You should be applying for that job. Your resume, the way you prepare for that interview, your portfolio should reflect what you are interviewing for. You are going for a costume design job, certain artwork makes sense. If you're going for an environmental design, costume design doesn't make sense. So embrace who you are, be that individual, apply for that job, and present yourself as that person. It makes it easier for all of us.
I think one of the common threads that you'll find here is none of us have time to be here. None of us have time to interview. None of us have time. We're constantly busy. All right, we're missing things right now because we're here. And that's the mentality that you have to think about when you're going into an interview. You're going to get 10, 20, 30 minutes of somebody's time. Take advantage of it and understand that that person is busy, right? Simplicity, simple message, be memorable for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. And understand that they are looking for a specific need to get filled. And if you can fill that, and they think you're going to be reliable, consistent, and somebody that they want to invest in and train, you got the job. All right, it's really that simple. If they have questions about anything, if you throw off their belief system too early, then you're going to be out. So,
depending on the organization, we already think you belong here. By getting the interview, you may be already 50% of the way there. I have a problem. I need a human being to fill a role. I have looked at several
100
resumes and portfolios, and I think you might be the answer. Or at least one of you 12 that I decided to come meet with, and I'm going to take time out of my day. prove me right or prove me wrong, but I already think I believe in you. Show up a little early. Be cool, collected. Present the professional that I think you are. Be yourself. Don't be nervous. That doesn't help. We already want you to win because I want to finish interviewing. I've got stuff to get back to.
We are rooting for you, right? We're rooting for the right one. We have the hard decision to make. Between you and the other 5, 6, 7 people that we're meeting the same day. And we're gonna take it's a roll of the dice. The interview process does not mean you win, right? The interview process means we're willing to take a chance, right? Based on everything we've seen and learned and known about it, either before you got there on social media, through your resume, through your website, through friends of friends, everything there leads to that decision. So we're rooting for you to get it. Now I need to make a tough decision. You guys are equally qualified. I need to roll the dice and pick one. And I can be wrong 50% of the time or more. You have to take a chance. And it's up to you once you get the job to prove me right or prove me wrong, right? So you got to get in there and stick with it and understand that, it's hard to say don't be nervous because you will be nervous, right? It's hard to say that, but we understand that and just get past that. We want to know, do you like talking in public? Can you present? There's a lot of times in design studios where I'll tell somebody, if you can talk in public, if you can present your ideas clearly, concisely, then you get the job, number one. Number two is, over your career, you have an opportunity to make twice as much money as the person that can't present. It is that important. So I have a son now who doesn't run it over Valencia, who is loathing speech class. I think everybody has at one time. But if you can get through that, and there are people that like drama, that like acting, that like this type of environment, they consider it a personal challenge. He loathes it. But I tell the same story I'm telling you. If you can get past it, the opportunity for you to go further, faster, do more, and make more is exponentially increased.
I'd like you to, I don't want to get off this here.
That was card 11 that I just.
By the way, it's higher, further, faster.
When you come, please don't be so rehearsed that I don't know who you are. Like, do not stand in front of the mirror and practice talking, spitting out a speech, a canned speech, right? One of the things that I think is truly important is for you to be able to naturally talk about yourself. One of the best pieces of advice that I got from someone a few years ago, Gene Columbus. He was at Disney for 100 years, and he just retired from, thank you, yes. And a great man. He went through his career of 40-some years in like 3 minutes. He never told me how he got promoted, but I could tell from what he was telling me because he told it to me as a story. And he made me go home and practice talking about myself in a story format. And when I came back to him and he re-interviewed me, and this was all for practice, he's like, I give you the job. So if you were, I did this, and then 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 I graduated, and then I did this. I'm like, wait. I have stopped several interviews to say, please put that down, turn over the resume, close the laptop. Okay, all right, who are you? Why do you do this? Do you love this? How did you start in this business? Why did you get this degree? What made you do this? Was there a teacher that inspired you? Was it, tell me about why you wanted to get into this kind of work. I want to know who you are, because that is a clear indication of how you're going to fit into the culture of what is happening where I work. And that is equally important to me. Skills can be honed, right? If you're an illustrator and you're good, but you're a great person and it worked out well and you're easy to talk to and you took comments and there was a dialogue and I see there's true potential in here, you can keep drawing and those skills are going to get better. But if you come across and I know that you might not be telling me the truth because that rash all over your neck is indicating that you might be want to ask you something and then you broke out behind. Please tell the truth. Please tell the truth. If I say, did you design this? And you say yes, and then I'll say which part, and you say I did that. I wrote the creative journey. Okay, then you didn't design this. right? So be honest in your work. If I say, can you, and you say, no, I can't, but I'd be willing to try, that's more important to me than if you said, yes, and then I hire you and you're like, well, I can't. Be honest about what your capabilities are. That is so, so important because again, and I'll say this over again, it goes back to your integrity and your character. And that is equally as important as any other skill set that you can bring to the table to a company. So please, just be honest in the interview about who you are, what you're doing, and what your skill set is. If I say, oh, you know Photoshop? Yeah, I'm a 10. Really? You're a 2. Just tell me the truth. It's really an important aspect to bring to the table when you're talking to someone. And make it a natural conversation.
90% of the time, unless my back's against the wall, which has happened, which is why I say 90% of the time, I will hire the right attitude with the right potential over confirmed skill with the wrong attitude. I'm hiring a person. I'm hiring someone that I can trust to take care of things without me watching every step that they make. You might be the most brilliant at whatever it is, but if you are also the most arrogant, you're not worth it. Unless my back's against it.
Yeah,
That person doesn't get rehired. They come in, they do that, and then they're gone.
having a level of empathy from both sides, right? Us because we're busy and you because you're nervous about it. And a level of humility as you move through this process. It's a human experience, right? It's not, you're not gonna learn here, F of X equals job, right? It just doesn't work that way. So, I've been in interviews where I've actually known the person, I've worked with them a long time, but I never had to interview before. They were so nervous, I had to actually get them out of the interview room, take them outside and went for a walk. We talked about we were walking, because then they could actually relax and be clear of the environment. So sometimes these environments are a little overwhelming because you're not in them and you think you're being judged. It's like, I'm gonna get it or I'm not gonna get it, right? Forget about that. Just be yourself, like Molly said. Honesty, transparency, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what your potential is more important to us than what you currently do today, right? You need to do a certain level of skill because we have a job and a role that we need to fill, but really we're looking for potential. And then of course we have the never-ending job of retention, right? It isn't just getting you here, but now my goal is to keep good talent. And that's our job to do that, to continuously challenge you after you're in the building or the trailer or wherever you're at.
So I want to say with honesty for a second, in my 2 cents, because one of the biggest things I've ever seen is that non-skill set or work-related questions trip people up in interviews. Asking, what's your hobby? Dead stop. Interview can be going great and we'll stop right there. But to me, it's an important question. I work with creative people. Creative people have hobbies and creative outlets, and I want to learn a little bit about you as a person, because as creatives, we're going to be our biggest critics. And so if I'm a costume designer, we'll stay with that one, in my own free time,
Why did that go there now?
Yes, I'm going to
You make Molly.
Molly. I'm going to be critical of myself more than, or almost as much as anybody else will be. So if I can learn something about that, photography, music, some kind of hobby from you, it tells me a lot about that, because I want to know about your passions and who you are. And so using passion as a lead-in, we've started talking about this, but we've talked about honesty and skills and all that, but what are you looking in look for in someone's personality that helps give you clues to them as an employee?
Well, I think, what have they done for the 10 years before they walked in the room, right? So I've met people that said, I started designing when I was 5 years old. Here's what I did, right? And they're crayon pictures. Here's what I did at 9 years old. Here's what I did at 10 years old. Here's what I went to school for. This is why I want to be here. That shows a level of commitment and passion that you don't see at all, right? I mean, even amongst our contemporaries. So they're locked in, they have a dream, they're following it. To Mark's point earlier, they have a passion, they have a vision, they're going in a certain direction. There are guardrails on their career that they bounce against, right? Because life happens. But they've always stayed in kind of singular focus to what they're doing, whether it is, I don't want to great at costume designing, but whether it's costume design, whether it's art, whether it's landscape architecture, whether it's engineering, show systems, show technical systems, whatever it is, if you see that they're doing that for no reason at all, other than they enjoy it, probably they'll enjoy it and actually excel at it when they're under your, as a member of your team.
And related, like I said, it's guardrails you're bouncing off of. I'm a technical director with Walt Disney Imagineering. What the heck does that mean? It means I have experience with show set design and construction, lighting, audio, projection, mechanical engineering, construction technology, safety, electrical engineering, all of these things. Those were my guardrails. Rigging, animatronic design, all of this, those are my guardrails. I've worked with designers that excel at little things, big things. Establish those guardrails and try to stay within them, but understand, while you're going to be great at this thing, demonstrating I have an understanding and appreciation of the thing. Wow. An understanding and appreciation of the things that touch what I do makes you an appreciated part of the team. People who don't understand or appreciate the things that touch what they do. A projection designer that does not understand lamp color or the color intensity coming out of a lamp is not a great projection designer. If that made no sense to you, don't worry.
What?
Exactly.
No.
Your, to go a little bit farther back, your passions outside of your profession, can make you a better, professional. Myself, I didn't start college wanting to be a landscape architect. I got around and spent a lot of money at junior college and the University of Florida, before I realized that instead of being A, B, and C that I thought I wanted to do before, I got into landscape architecture and realized that really early on that this is what I want to do. And at that point, everything just became easy. And then all of my design and experiences related back to the passions that I had in the past. So every little thing you do in life is going to make you a better person, professionally and personally as well. So all of those things, from an interviewing standpoint, if I'm asking you, what do you do, apart from being a set scene designer, graphic designer, blah, 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 doing something to me is a good deal because it tells me more about what your experiences in life are and not just in classroom. And to me, a richer life is better than someone who just sits in a classroom and does what you're supposed to do. Yeah. That's fine.
So passion is a good word, but let's talk about the difference between passion and emotion.
You had to go to the woman for that one, right?
No,
No, it's another
it's not,
story.
it's another story. We have had okay, I could cry at the drop of a hat, and if you know me, Joe Fox is shaking his head, right? I am driven by emotion and passion, and however, I have had interviews where I'm talking to the person and they started crying. And what I would say, I just was shocked that it happened. I don't know that it was a bad thing. I would have rather the person said, you know what, I need to go to the restroom. Could you excuse me for a minute? And go collected themselves and figured out what was happening, because I couldn't get past that. It happened twice in the same week.
Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
I didn't know how to, I'm like, are you okay? Is there something wrong? You know, this person started talking about a project they worked on with their child, and then my child was great, and then they started crying about their child, and then I was like, okay, and then I'm sorry, and then we kept going, and then it happened again, and we were like, so I would just say, if you become emotional, and it can be, it's scary, right? It's overwhelming, it's intense, right? You're excited, you're nervous, you're afraid. I mean, those are serious emotions, right? But I would rather you say, you know what, could you just give me a minute? Could you just give me a minute? So don't try to push it back so then it makes it worse and you're gonna bust. If it becomes that, that, then excuse yourself. Excuse yourself and walk away. But that's, again, it goes back to having all of those things prepared, knowing what you're doing, coming in and having that time to breathe, knowing that what you're presenting is your stuff, knowing that you have everything together, and just, look, you may not get a job, but you're not gonna die, okay? So really think about that perspective about, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna be the best me. And if it's not what they want and it's not the right time, then it's just not. And that is okay. Not getting a job is okay. So don't go to an interview of a job you didn't get and then beat yourself up. But check yourself with your emotions. Be prepared to walk out of the room if you need to, right? And just give yourself that time that you need to be in control of who you are so that you can really present yourself in a way that makes you want to continue to talk to you. Please.
I think it was one of the things that you led to earlier about practice, right? So practice interviewing, not so that you can learn to steal and be kind of robotic about what you're saying, but as a way to learn to control your emotions, right? You're going into a strange place, you're meeting somebody you've never met before. In your mind, it may be a survival mode, right? If I don't get this, I don't know what I'm going to do. We can detect that. We can sense that if you're coming in that way. We'll try and break it up. We'll try and do something to get you relaxed. But if you practice that several times, either in an academic environment, if you've gone and worked in other groups where you've had the opportunity to practice with each other, at least you've done it 3, 4, 5, 10, 30 times before. So when you're walking into this building in this interview, that part you're prepared for, right? And then you get to be a little bit more genuine in your conversation, and you're a little bit better prepared for the questions that are being asked for you. Hey, what's your hobby? No one's ever asked me that before, right? Or I don't have one, right? I was like Scully writing Lance in the Hudson. And you ask Scully what his hobby was. His hobby was training other pilots how to prepare for emergency landings, right? That's what he did for fun, right? Like, probably a good guy to be on my plane. So, understand that this is a really difficult scenario that you're in, but it's not like that, right? You will learn something from this interview process, and you will make connections with people. And even if there's not a job then, if they can remember you in the way that you want to be remembered, and what you do after the interview is just as important as before and during. There will be a time when you get the opportunity to work at this dream job for this dream company. If you pursue it and if it's your dream and you're laser focused on it, it doesn't matter how long it'll take, you will get there. And I've had people that I've interviewed that I didn't hire for 3 or 4 years later because there just wasn't the opportunity to bring them in. And when there was, we were able to grab them or they were already looking somewhere else.
One more thing I'll add to that.
Right, and that's, I have a good segue after Jerry. So.
And I also something on that.
Hold on a second. Is that, please be yourself. So you all don't know this about me, and I am in a very controlled state of who I am. I have a ton of nervous energy. I tend to talk really fast.
You got to let the interview.
I had to take a phone call. I tend to rattle on. I use my hands a lot. I've only done this once or twice today. I have to consciously think about that. So sometimes learning how to control where you are with that, it goes back to that emotional piece. I have literally done 20 jumping jacks in the parking lot before I've gone inside. Just to allow myself to get that out, or I'll consciously sit on my hands. Now, not because I want to be someone other than who I truly am, but I need to be able to allow myself to be natural, but I also can be super intense, and that can be off-putting. And it's someone with my kind of energy, it's really important for me to find when to modify it. I consider myself going into something I'm like, should I be 80% today? So if you know that about you, or if you know that, you're on the other end, you're a really introverted person, right? Allow yourself, give yourself credit for that, but be able to know that you can go in and you can do this, right? Again, not getting a job is not the end of the world. You will get a job. Give yourself credit to be who you are and then take all of the advice and put it in a sifter and, come out with what you need to do to make you be the most successful person when you walk into a place that you interview.
phrase that Jerry said was that dream job at that dream company. And I'm so thankful for you separating those two things. Going back to it, passion and emotion. I've had the glorious opportunity for many years to hear people go, I just want to work for Disney. There are a lot of jobs. There are a lot of roles available for Disney. And if you just want to work for Disney, I can introduce you to many of those opportunities. If you want that dream job, you want to be a graphic designer for Disney. You want to be a ride engineer. You want to go do that. Pursue your dream job. Find something, I was mentioning this to Kaylee earlier, find something that you are excited to get up and do 315 days a year. It's hard, let's be honest. Do that. Be sought after for that. Be the person people want on their team for that. And get that dream job. And if that progression takes you to that dream company, congratulations. But no matter what, if you already have your dream job, you win. You are among the lucky human beings who get to wake up 315 days a year and say, I'm a landscape architect. I'm pretty darn lucky. It's pretty darn lucky.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, because I'll screw it up. But the other days that your job sucks.
Well, there's also weekends and vacation.
That's true. So the other days that suck, hopefully you'll end up at a place where you will have someone to balance out the bad parts of it. And I was fortunate to have this one.
Now, I need to take a walk.
So dream jobs are good. Sometimes you have to make a decision to take less pay than somebody that you're classmate with. But the benefit of making that decision is because it's a good place to be employed. And people are here making like a lot of YouTube.
We have very different experiences.
Most people do.
Perfect question.
So I guess the thing I'm trying to get to is you have to make a decision. You have a job, but that job doesn't have to be a job. It can be a family too. When you go through your career, through your life, you realize that there are places that aren't exactly where you want to be, and places that you're just kind of getting a paycheck at. And you have to. It's not part of the interview process, but it is part of the decision process. So if you get through the interview, you get the job offer, that's when you have to make that decision. But I'll tell you from experience, to find a place that is a family and not just a job will make all of those other days after 315 worthwhile.
That's why Molly said it so well. We want to meet you.
Yeah.
Because you're asking to be a part of our family. We're asking you to be a part of our family. If you've had the opportunity, and we're talking with a lot of students right now, if you've had the opportunity to intern in any phase of this industry, we spend a lot of time together. I spend more time with my project teams than I do my actual family. I have to know I can rely on them on the good days and the bad days. So when you're interviewing, I want to know you. Your resume can tell me you can work in SolidWorks. That's great. I can probably name 120 people right now that can work in SolidWorks. That's not who I need. I need someone who fits in the culture of my organization.
That's perfect, because that's where I was gonna go was talk about enthusiasm. And can there be too much enthusiasm knowing how fun our industry is? And I am a theme park nerd. I will freely admit that. That has to get curbed at times in professional scenarios. So that's where I wanted to go, and anybody touched on that. So we're gonna move on, but as we do, I want to remind everybody we're at UCF. So when I ask this question, remember, we're at UCF. But we've been talking about advice that's, you'll understand, advice for everybody, but I want to focus in on new graduates. We're at UCF, but I want to ask, what's the main thing you wish you could tell new graduates that they maybe didn't get from college or university? Let's jump right in.
I'll start. I love whatever you study. I am incredibly impressed with the projects that you undertook in your various classes. That does not mean you walk out of any schooling as a master planner, as a lighting designer, as a projection designer. You might have those opportunities. Please walk in and expect a lower rung of the ladder. Because there are a lot of people who are here 6 months, 6 years, 12 years ahead of you. But they have all of the education and a little bit of experience on top of what you've experienced. And you've got a lot more to learn.
I think that what I would add to that is that, I'll give myself as an example. I do not have a degree in this area. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology from home. I know, and you're like, what? And when I left school, that did not mean I was going to go sit down and be the very best therapist to someone. You know, I mean, to go to graduate school or things I need to do. Did I have the principles and the understanding and the tools to do some really great stuff? Yes, I had the tools to do it, right? You're leaving school, and I love school. I go to school every day. You are getting the tools that you need, and then you're going to come into a world where you're going to apply those tools. If you are an A student in the classroom, that doesn't mean you're going to get the job first. It means you did well academically, right? So I think you need to, it's like, if I go to a cooking class and they teach me to bake a cake, when I go home, it's like trying to make the cake on the cover of the magazine in the checkout store in the grocery store. I've done it. It doesn't. It doesn't. So what I'm saying is, I would not be a master at that skill, right? You are not a master of the skill. You are the master of getting your degree. You're the master of coming to class, being committed, listening to professors, taking their advice, doing the work, learning the skill. Now you're going to go learn how to do it, right? And if you think of it in the terms of maybe in construction, I am learning to mix water, I'm learning how things go together, I'm learning how to put the bricks and the blocks, but I haven't built a building. I know how it goes together, I know I have the tools, I know what I need to do, but maybe I haven't done it yet. So keep that in mind. You're coming to us with a set of tools, and when you get a job, we're going to take what your teachers, professors have taught you with those tools, and we're going to teach you how to make that application of what you've learned in your job. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, you bring, I think when I look at graduate degrees, undergraduate degrees, I'm looking at, especially on undergrads, that you've done something that maybe a lot of your peers and a lot of other people that aren't sitting in the room have done. And that is you've shown a level of self-discipline to get through, right? And that means something. It means you did work when no one was looking. Most of the work that you do for me is when I'm not looking. So if you can make it through here, it means you can be a part of my team. It's a gate. I would say if you did not have the education, you probably don't get to the table. All right. So you finished 16th grade. Now what's next? All right. And you are going to be at the table interviewed because you did learn things. You did do internships. You are pursuing your dreams. Right. And you're still focused on what it is that you want to do and sometimes where you want to do it at. But understand that it is just another gate that you've made it through that a lot of people won't make it through. I mean, congratulate yourselves for being here today, because there's a lot of name tags over there that are for people that didn't make it. It just shows the level of commitment that you have to this when others had something better to do, right? So it means a lot that you come when no one else comes, or that you work when no one else is looking, because that's typically what happens in the work environment.
Also say, if you are fortunate enough to get those internships, there is an incredible allure to, well, what if they'll take me on full time at the end of my internship? I can do another internship, I can stay. I'm already doing this work, so I really need to go back to school and finish my degree. Yes.
Yes.
Finish. When I look at a resume and I see a college degree, that means you made a promise to yourself that you saw through to the end. You did work when no one else was looking. That's important. Our companies are going to be here in a few more years. We can wait. Finish the promise to yourself.
Sure, I'm gonna ask you a question, since you and I are so program heavy. Talk about knowing a program, and going to work for a company, and then learning what to do with it. Such as chatter.
To start that,
Rub it.
don't start. Microsoft Office is not a skill.
Comments like, I'm certified, though.
Yeah, so you're gonna use a myriad of different softwares in school. And if you know them really, really well, that's awesome. As soon as you get into a professional firm, I've been using AutoCAD for almost 30 years now. And I've been at my new place of employment for 6 weeks. And the way that it's set up, in order for 150 people to do the exact same work company-wide, they have all these little intricacies built into AutoCAD. It's like I'm starting all over from scratch. So no matter how much you know, you're not gonna know as much as the people that are using it on a daily basis for real work that is going to get built
In that organization.
Yeah.
Because I'll guarantee you, Jerry's team uses it differently.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how it was where Dave and I worked. We would use certain software for landscape architecture related design, whereas an illustrator or animator would use the exact same software, totally different. But we could screw up each other's drawings just enough to really yell at each other.
I've got two more quick questions, and then we'll leave some time for questions from the audience. But one of the things I like to reaffirm is look up the company that you're going to talk to, come prepared with questions. So for you, anyone, how do you feel when someone shows up for an interview having done no research about your company and or knowing nothing? The first question when they sit down is, so what's the company?
I'll get on my
Thank you so
phone
much.
and go on Facebook and look up their profile, and ask them questions about themselves.
Yeah, that's almost as creepy as somebody asking me, how was my vacation in California 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's true.
How the hell do you know about that? They were doing their research before they come in. It's important to know it because you're trying to build a bridge to the person that's interviewing you. So you look for common threads, right? So those common threads could be hobbies that you may know that person had, or the college that they went to, or the sports team, or whatever it may be. You're trying to leave a positive impression. So understand where that person that you're meeting, where they were before, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, what they're doing now, and eventually you can find out what's next, right? You're just trying to build a connection with them. So the more you know about it, the better. But don't go too far, right? Like I work for a public company, right? So if you start talking about the stock price of my company and how it's gone over the last year, and see tears coming out of my eyes, and I have some Kleenex. It's probably the wrong thing, the wrong types of questions and connection that you're trying to make there. So understand the role of the person that you're working with that's interviewing with you. Understand if they're good at it and if they do this professionally. I'm not in the HR group, so I don't do interviews the way you might expect. And I will take you for a walk. I will take you to lunch. I'll make you buy me lunch. I will make you take a tie off and wear it as a bandana, right? So, especially if you just borrowed it from your dad, right? Just born one in 10 years. So make the connections, do your research, and don't get foot and mouth disease, right? Don't say the wrong thing at the wrong time because that you may not have that connection.
So two things. If I say to you, is it Carter? Is it Carter? What market sectors or disciplines at BRPH were you so attracted to? And you say, what are market sectors? What disciplines do you have at them? You should know. So please do your homework, just as you would do it in this school setting, please do your homework. Piggyback on what you just said, I was at a Kids Gab event a few years ago, and I was working at a different company, and this person sat down and they started to talk about the company, and they were so excited, and they were so excited, and what they knew about our company, and it was great, and then B, and they had to go, and I was like, that's so sad, they weren't even talking about my same name, different state, similar name, not exactly the same. They had just researched the wrong company, they didn't look at the full name, right? And so I did wait until the whole night was over, and I did go speak to that person and say, look, I'm not gonna hold you against, you know, doing 30 of these in an hour, whatever you're doing, but. So.
It's a different business.
It was a different business. Yeah. And, you know, those are really important things. You should want to know that. And this for me circles back to just going to get a job, right? I can just go get a job, you know, right? But do you want to work for this company? And what do you know about them? And why do you want, what skills do you like there? What do you know about who the leadership is? You should come and ask questions. I spoke to one of our vice presidents today, and he said, the best people in the interview interview me. Right? You should, if I say, do you have any questions about the company? No, you guys are great. Well, I've been talking to you for 20 minutes. Do you think you're gonna know that right now? Maybe? Well, knowing me, yes. But you should know. You should know. And you should want that for you as much as we want it for you. Because you owe that to yourself when you're interviewing, to know that kind of information.
Good questions are important, right? So at the end, if you say, well, you have any questions? I'm not gonna know, I don't believe you. Right? And I always offer kind of, if you get in, here's my card. If you get in the car and you're driving away, and there was one question that you thought you had to ask but did, call me back and I'll answer the question. Because sometimes nerves sets in. But if you're not asking any questions at all, you're off my list.
That, right? Most companies, most interviewers will end with, is there anything you thought you would ask? Is there anything you'd like to know? They will give you that last carrot. Don't let it go. That question is your opportunity to say, you know, earlier you asked me this, and I neglected to mention. I thought you might ask this piece about my resume, my history. I thought you might like to know. I was curious about this thing about your organization. Don't get creepy. Don't leave that last opportunity, because that is your last chance to leave an impression. And if that impression is, hey, I'm good.
I want to add something. I don't know what your last question is, and I thought.
We've touched into it about the ending.
One thing I would tell you all as well is, I know you get this all the time because you're young and you're entitled, and you get it all the time, right? People say it all the time. But I have seen people interview with me say, yeah, I would never take a job for that. I can't even pay my student loans with that money. Well, you don't have any experience. You never had any job. You didn't work in high school. You didn't work in college. You've never had a job. So I can't take a risk. You are an entry-level person, right? I'm offering you this job. I got an example, another thing I'm going to point out. An organization sent an email to someone to say they wanted to have a pre-screen phone call. That's not an interview. That's a pre-screen call to see if I'm going to interview you. And when they got that invitation, they sent back, I think it was what, 22 questions? What kind of coffee do you have at work? Do you have a gym? Oh, I think you're that.
Or I apologize to everybody, Molly's name in the audience for listening to that. Just, you know.
It was a whole host of questions that this was just, I'm going to pre-screen this applicant to see if we are interested in interviewing you. Then they sent back 5 more questions after those questions. And just a pre-screen is a pre-screen. It's very simple. It's 5 minutes on the phone, ask the questions, get off the phone, then they're going to decide they're going to interview. So just be humble about what you're doing, be honest about who you are, come prepared, right? Don't show us fake work, right? And Please don't ask me what kind of coffee we have. We probably have some, but I don't know what kind of drink.
So talking about ending with questions, we're actually gonna invite Kaylee up. If you wanna come up and join too. Kaylee is a recruiter at Disney, so she's gonna take part in the part of the panel where we open questions up to you. So just like every interview, we're gonna ask you, what questions do you have for us? You can direct them to anyone specifically, you can direct them to anyone generally, and see who tries to answer it. So, we're gonna open it up.
You get to pick.
Griffin, we'll start right here.
What do you guys think about cover letters? Keep it open-ended.
I love cover letters. I love a little bit more personalization that tells me why you're interested in my organization and the role that I am supposed to.
I can definitely add to this because I read cover letters all day long. So I hire professional interns, so I help students like yourself bridge this gap to experience. Your cover letter should supplement what's on your resume. Tell the story. Talk about a project that you couldn't put in your overall resume. So it is your opportunity to add. Don't say, as you can see in my resume, I've done X, Y, Z. Well, yes, I've read your resume. So use it as the opportunity to make it more personal. Share something that's not already there.
Something that I do as well, that's not the way, I like, you guys have questions, of course. I love to get it, I do it, I love to when someone writes things to me.
The letter after.
Handwritten notes. And you took the time to sit down and say something about coming to an interview. I have cigar box full of them, because they're super important.
A handwritten note we'll remember, but even an email sets you apart from
Someone just ignore it.
90% of the other people we interview.
People,
I do want to take a small tangent off of your question and ask the panel something. There was a time in resumes that one of the top lines was gold.
Objective,
And I know objective gold. It became so redundant with a job in the industry that I don't know if you're still seeing that, but it
No.
always drives me nuts when I see.
See it full time,
I saw the page.
it's not. The objective is to get a job.
We know, we want a job.
Yeah.
Use that space for a personal summary, that just kind of highlights, show lighting design, or, something that kind of gets the reader to see immediately what you're going for, but don't say, I want a job as a. Obviously you do, you want to put your resume in other ones.
And I'll also add, I've been doing this for 30 years, I have a one-page resume. If you have not been doing the job for 30 years, you do not need more than one page.
That's the idea.
And, that's the hand.
Okay.
So for writers specifically, because I feel like, well, it's kind of two questions. What other skills do you think best supplement just writing? And also like for portfolios, like how many different types of writing samples would you want to see specifically?
I'll go with other skills. Someone else take on.
I'll
write
write
a
it
sample.
down.
But presentation skills, oral presentation, being able to stand in front of a group and present what the concept is, be able to go through what you've written and hold the audience's attention. I have horrible stage fright. This kind of setting scares the living daylights out of me. But I've learned this is an important part of my job. So I've learned how to do that. I would do the same thing for writers and others, that how you present your ideas cannot just be on the page.
So as far as the samples, if you say that you can do narratives or technical writing or scripts, give me an example of each. I don't need 5 short stories. I don't need 3 plays. Give me what is the shining example of that type of writing that you're saying you can provide. And so if you say you can do technical writing or creative narratives, let me see an example of each, but one example will give me a clue on whether or not I want to give you the opportunity or not.
Oh, no, sorry.
So that's it. Or Oh, that's very
Since Give Gap is coming up, could anyone on the panel add a few tips about either first impressions or elevator pitches?
I think we covered a lot of it, but I do think that in that short time, you gotta nail it down. What can you tell me? Graduate this time, this is what I do, this is why I love it, this is what I've been involved in. I know something about your company, right? Oh, I looked up your page, you guys, how do you work in the aerospace industry? That's super cool. I love rockets. I don't know. Right? Tell me something that you've learned about us and something that I can quick and take away from what you've left me with, right? And I will tell you, I remember people because on both ends of the spectrum, the way that they came in and presented themselves was where we started about what they were. Like the guy with the t-shirt that you should, you know, and the girl with the giant yellow flower hair. So, you know, think about what impression can you leave in that 3 minutes. And not to know about yourself, the top 5 things. Don't try to tell me 20 things because you're on the phone. Tell me top 5 things about you and let me know that you did look into what our company has offered you and why you're talking.
I helped people with this last week for the freelancer event, similar to the, and it was come and say, hi, I'm Dave, I do this is what sets me apart, and use that to start the conversation. Don't talk the whole 3 minutes for Good Gap. Remember to talk about yourself in the 3 minutes of Good Gap, but don't talk the whole time. Introduce yourself, get them hooked on something and start a conversation. And then, Alexa, I'm sorry, we keep passing.
If you submit an application and don't hear back for a while, after what amount of time is it safe to assume that you're not going to hear back at all?
I think you could have done that. It's a closing date on the posting a lot of times. So if you apply for a job today and it doesn't close till April 22nd, and you interview tomorrow, please don't call me on Monday. Right? The job is not even closed yet. Right? So I don't know the proper time frame.
Those are one of the questions you ask at the end of the interview. When are you going to make a decision?
That's a realistic question too.
I think if you apply, if you've applied, especially to a company that you know is getting a ton of applicants, like some of the bigger names, we may have hundreds for where we're filling one position. So if it's been months and months, at some point you have to decide if you're ready to move on. That being said, every process is a little different. There are so many positions that I work on that we interview, candidate doesn't accept the position, we start from scratch. And it may be 2 months after the posting, and I'm going back and calling students. So it's until you get that message that says you're no longer in consideration, no news is good news. You're still in the mix. However, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, keep exploring everything until something starts.
Remember, we're interviewing a few people. It's in your best interest to interview in a few places. Because it's a conversation. Right? We are looking to see if you're a right fit. You should also be looking, is this a right fit for me? You might have a fabulous interview from my perspective, and you walk out and go, I can't really see myself in that office.
You may not have the right coffee.
So, especially where you are right now, or I assume where you are right now, reach out, look for different opportunities, explore, do your best, grow. Don't put your eggs in one basket, as David said.
And try not to say, I have an offer from another.
That's a lot to you.
But I'm gonna talk to you instead. Just to see.
Well, you have the benefit of being a central part. Right? This is the entertainment capital of the world. There are a lot of companies here. There's a lot of projects here. There's a lot of smaller companies support to the bigger companies. There's companies like Dynamic that's based out of Canada here in Florida. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to get your hooks in. And if you really want it, you'll find a way to pursue all of it.
And you'd be surprised they hire a smaller company, may just lead you to a job with the company the big giant company that you thought you wanted to go to. There are so many avenues. I think that's one of the beautiful things about this industry. There's a lot of really great collaboration between organizations. And, they may appear to be competing organizations, and then tomorrow they're collaborating on a project. So those things are really important too. So you don't know where you're gonna get hired, where it's gonna lead. And I just think you gotta keep your options open and, going back to everyone, we're going through, well, everyone started somewhere. And, again, it goes back to just because that's what you think you wanna do, you don't know that that's not what you want to do.
So we have time for one more, and yeah, you got, where's your hand?
So I have a question for Flounder. So I'm a technician with PSCB right now, typically not a theme entertainment design type company.
Although it does a lot of work.
They do a lot of similar work.
Sure, sure. So kind of going off what you just said, how can I, just as a technician now, who's kind of not working in this IT industry, I'm not building rides every day, like some of my peers are, how can I make the best of that situation in one of these support type companies?
This is gonna sound really weird. Life is elementary school gym class. You walk into gym class, what does the teacher do? Picks 2 students. What's their job?
Team cap.
Team captains. They're now picking their teams. I want you to make 2 leaps of faith with me. Number 1, you have athletic ability. Number 2, you want to play. When do you want to get picked? First, why?
It's a
The
perspective.
best perspective, because you were wanted. It may be because of your speed. It may be because of your agility. It may be because life is just better when Kaylee's on my team. That's how you get where you want to go. You become the person, I'm sorry, I can't see your name, Carson. You want PSAV saying, next call, we need Carson. You want that to be your reputation. You make things better. And as small as this industry is, from Florida to California, when PSAV says you want Carson, that grows. And eventually you have the opportunity, if you don't want to stay at PSAV, you can go somewhere else. And you go from being a lighting technician to a lighting design assist. And that grows, and that grows, and that grows, because you consistently provide value wherever you are. You're not the person they can't find. You're not the person who arrives late and leaves early. You're the one getting the job done, looking for the other things that need to be done, being a positive part of the team, not just lighting, but the entire install. I started a long time ago as a performer at the Magic Kingdom. You too. I went to technician at the
Not
Magic
a long
Kingdom.
ago, Tuesday.
You really want to go there? I went from there to technician, from technician to production planner, which is a role within the entertainment tech work at Disney World. From tech planner, I became a lighting designer and assistant technical director. From that, I became technical director, principal for creative entertainment for 15 years. From that, I became principal technical director with Walt Disney Imagineering. I didn't do that because I went to the most amazing school and got the most amazing grades. I focused my energy, I focused my effort on being the person they wanted on their team.
And focused a bunch of lines.
And focused a bunch of lights. I focused a bunch of lights. I pumped a lot of trust. I pumped a lot of game. Because that's what needed to be done. When a DMX line needed to run through the mud under the stage and everybody was going, not me, I was already halfway under the stage. I wanted to be the person people said, I don't know how hard this project is going to be, but I want Flounder on the team. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to become a lighting designer with Disney Entertainment or WDI, or the next ride engineer, or the next whatever. When you have established a reputation as the problem solver, the organizations will find you. Because when you put in that application, and I look and see PSAV, I'm calling Will Seaton. And that name means something to that gentleman right there. or I see iTech, I'm calling these folks. Before I even think about interviewing Haley. What can you tell me? Professionally, they will say, yes, they worked at iTech. Because that's what we're allowed to say. But there are 4 degrees of separation in this industry. I will know more about you when you sit across from me. And I want you to win. I want you to be the answer to that challenge.
I have a couple of questions from online.
Okay.
No, your hand is
Your
up.
This is personal to me, but I have focused on my academics and therefore I have not taken any jobs. What would you recommend for me to put on my resume besides just the 1 year of writing that I did before I got into my master's program?
Do you have a job anywhere else, ever?
Yes, but
Facebook hammers? Did you work in a convenience store? Did you work in a mall? Did you do anything?
Party City balloon specialist.
Okay, you work, right? It's a job. It's a job. If you have volunteer work, anything that can tell me something about you, right? And any experience counts. Any experience counts. So just include that. And I think it's okay to say, I chose to do this, and I left school, I left employment, to seek my master's degree. It's okay to say that, right? But put any employment, any volunteer activity, anything that you did, put it on.
Don't get tied up on the work experience has to be a paid. It's how you're using what you learned in the classroom. So if it's you're highlighting specific projects, scripts that you wrote for a script writing class, put that on your resume. I mean, that's a valid use of your skills. So use the real estate on your resume to highlight that in your work experience, put balloon specialist. But you don't need to put 5 bullets under the different styles of balloons unless you're applying for another balloon specialist position. Use the real estate to sell what you've learned in the classroom and how you've applied it in your activities, in your volunteer work, in your school projects.
Okay, that's great.
Questions from online?
Yeah, we have, first question we have from online is from Kirsten. In this project-based industry, many companies don't have a typical 3-month summer internship that fits in with college. Any advice for students who are trying to graduate on time and still get industry experience?
Keep looking. And I know the big companies do have those 3-month opportunities. To the point made earlier, there are the little companies that are not so little that the big companies rely on. And they also have those 3-month opportunities.
I always ask students what their availability is to intern, right? And then I'll say, so, okay, so can we have this intern, like, currently, can we have this intern? So I think it's worth making that ask, right? I think someone should not be afraid to ask that.
Yeah.
Here's the availability I have, how does it meet your availability, and can we come, if you don't ask, sometimes you don't get the answer.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Internships today aren't just over the summer, right? And so if you defer and stay out of a fall semester, out of a spring semester, there are companies that will actually entertain the idea of internships through the fall and the spring. And your chance of getting it are actually greater than a summer internship.
We have an intern currently that's been at your place for several months because she's going to.
They're gonna say years, that's
No, but she chose to keep her intern status, obviously, because she attends for staff.
You should also talk with your advisors at school, because there might be options to do a half course load or online courses so that you can be available in those off times or for a longer internship. So talk about those options with your schools.
And there are some internship programs in Disney that have education elements built into their program that can keep you good spirits. So.
And then the other thing is that it may be something that you can't attend the office hours, but we can work with, would you be willing to do work at home? Never be afraid to ask those questions. If you don't ask, I can't answer.
We pay attention to those things when we're looking at internships, and so they may seem set in periods, but we know, we're not gonna ask you to miss the first 3 days of school because the internship needs to go to this day. We're gonna work with you and we pay attention to those things, so you have to ask, you have to inquire about it.
For the most part, again, we're looking for a human being to bring into our culture. And if you are the right fit at the right time, minus 16 days, you can probably make that work.
Excellent. Second question. I'm a composer, not me, who wants to use music to help tell stories in themed entertainment. Given the specialty of what I do in preparing for the upcoming Give Gab West, how can I best prepare?
Create a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Make it epic.
Bluetooth speakers.
Extra points if you drown out the person at the table.
I mean, if
Headphones
someone
on your
else
butt.
would
There you go.
if someone would show me, a media piece or a drawing or whatever, show me what you created, absolutely. It's more widely needed than they probably think. So show us.
Quite seriously, put it on your phone, bring headphones, not earbuds, so that you can say, hi, this is who I am, this is what I do, I'd like to give you a sample.
Excellent.
Have it available for us to go find later once you've given us a clearly legible business card.
You can have music on others, this can't be a phone.
Chuck Fawcett said, Flounder, tell them about how you started as a puppeteer on Disney Crew.
No.
Yeah,
Actually, if anyone could. So there used to be a drug and alcohol program called the Disney Crew. It was a puppet show based on Walt Disney kids. And we would go to elementary schools in the area and perform a show to encourage kids to avoid the dangers of drugs and alcohol. And I had the opportunity to perform in that show, 3 of the puppets that were provided by a very early Animax and Chuck Foster. And he has a picture.
Chuck just wanted a plug.
Here's a picture of 17-year-old Flounder with 3 of his puppets. Thank you, Chuck.
That seems like a good place to wrap up, because we are over time. But on behalf of the TEA System Board, I'd like to thank everybody for attending our TEA Talks Live, the art of interviewing. Everybody online, thank you. Thank you for watching as well. One more time, I'd like to thank UCF for hosting us. And of course, another round of applause for the panelists, because without them, there would have been no talk. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
If you guys have questions, I'm happy to stick around for a minute. I'll go for it. I'll stand in the parking lot.
Right there.